Welcome to the loop.
Welcome to The Loop, now featuring more Nintendo-themed descriptions of our president's penis than Stormy Daniels. It's a talk show about video games. I am so excited to be here that I can't contain my joy.
So we have two descriptions?
There are so much things in the world to talk about when it comes to video games. My name is Eric, and as always, I'm joined by Kyle and Jeremy
That's
and
me.
The Trevor at the end. And we are thrilled to be a part of your lives at this very moment, at this junction. We have joined you. You have joined us in holy matrimony. Presiding over this is the Honorable Judge Kuipers, who is going to make this civil union official.
Order in the court.
Thank you. It's
That. Wait,
shouldn't
did
have been May You
Trevor
Now
was
Kiss
the gavel?
Bride?
I was trying to make a sound effect.
Trevor was the gavel for
that's
Kuipers.
fine.
That was it. I was just applauding
The people
your teamwork.
out there. Okay.
Yeah, the audio
okay.
listeners had no clue what happened. It
I
was
know.
just-
And then you
That's-
ruined it all.
No,
Now
you
you ruined it.
shared so they would
God.
be aware.
Letting them know what's happening.
I
That's the
honestly
rules.
thought it was all Kuipers. I did not
Yeah.
see Trevor. I was like an audio listener. I enjoyed it seamlessly.
Get out of my courtroom,
It's
Kyle.
like
And
you
then
don't
Kyle
think
ruined
the
it.
audio listeners know that things happen on video too, then they may miss that.
Well, hey, for like however many people are actually listening on the audio, I just wanted to give them a peek behind the curtain.
Okay, then for you video watchers, because you watch, you don't, well, you listen too, but for you guys, you're missing out stuff every week from the audio. They get
True.
special pre and post editing stuff that you don't
true.
get. So if you're curious about that, it's on the iTunes and stuff.
Cool. All right. Welcome to the internet.
People gotta know.
Home of the Loop. Again, it's a talk
Can't
show
we
about
take
video
your
games.
orders?
We have lots of things to talk about tonight. There's a lot of things going on. A lot of shaking and rumbling. I mean, Capcom closed that one studio.
Which one?
I think the Canadian one.
Oh,
So that's too bad.
did they put anything good out from that one?
Dead Rising.
Oh, really? Okay. That's unfortunate.
So, R.I.P.
Rest. in
So
pieces.
they're not rising anymore. They're just
They're
dead.
dead, though.
Maybe it's a big marketing
Hey,
ploy.
totally.
Maybe they're gonna, bring it back and.
Maybe.
You suck. You pushed that one too far, Jeremy.
I was trying to think of there's a lot of stuff we could talk about tonight, and I feel like
There's a large.
I
chunk
feel
of
like
stuff.
we're probably just gonna glaze over Intellivision's making like a comeback, which is crazy.
Television.
In television.
Oh, in television.
Remember the classic gaming console, the Intellivision.
I'm too young to remember that.
I missed that news.
I don't know what that is.
They sold out to Mattel like 100 years ago, and now the original founders of the console have the rights back, and I guess they're planning an event soon where they're going to announce something big, and it sounds like it's supposed to be much bigger than the silly Atari box, but we'll see.
Yeah, whatever happened with that Atari
It's
box?
still coming out, but it's
But
just
it just doesn't
I mean, it's
seem like
pretty
it's
much
gonna be-
just I don't know, a cheap console.
It's just gonna be a actual branded version of the 30,000 different ones you can get on Amazon today, right?
Well,
I think it's supposed to have
it'll play other games. It's supposed to have some indie titles
That's
on
what I mean.
it.
I mean,
and
you
stuff
spend
like that,
20,
but-
30 bucks on Amazon and get all these third-party versions.
Well, that's because
that
Atari will
today.
sell their brand to
with
anybody.
1,000
but-
games coming with them and stuff.
Yeah, but this isn't that. It's supposed to actually let you install your own games on it.
it almost sounded like it was supposed to be kind of a Steam Lite type of
something
box.
like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was your Well, I guess we might as well cover
It's your Atari
the,
update.
while we're doing this lightning round of news.
Yeah, let's do it.
The PlayStation Mini Classic. PlayStation Classic was announced.
I don't know. Yeah.
So if you have a fondness in your heart
So
for a
Sony
PS1,
said me too.
and you don't have it, no, you'd be better just ignoring it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You
It just-
started with Stormy Daniels.
No, stop it.
That has nothing.
Stop it.
Okay. Anyways, PS1
That's an entirely different thing, Jeremy. Just stop it.
is selling a miniature console, just like the NES and the SNES Classic, and you can. I don't know if the pre-orders sold out yet or not, but
It looks cute.
it's small, but it comes with a regular size Sony PS1 controller, and it has 20 games on
20
it.
games.
They haven't revealed all of them yet.
I gotta say, the ones they've revealed so far, I'm kind of like,
Yeah, that's what I was
not
thinking too.
so. I always wanted to play Final Fantasy VII, but I know I would just fire it up and maybe play it an hour.
This is
and
interesting.
be like, okay.
Yep, check that off the bucket list.
Tekken 3 is really good. That's one of the best Tekken games, so that's cool. But it's just like I don't really want to play a 20-year-old
what are you
fighting game.
hoping is on there?
I was thinking about that because I was like, I couldn't think of a PS1 game that I was really like, man, I really wish I could go back and play that.
I can't even think of a PS1 game right now.
I mean, maybe
Yeah, I
like
never had a
maybe the
PS1.
first Tomb Raider. That one was
That
kind
would
of
be really
fun.
cool. Yeah, if they did that.
that could be interesting.
I mean, I'm guessing there will be a Sonic game on there.
Oh yeah, if they could get Metal
Or
Gear
wait,
on there.
no,
Sorry.
not Sonic. That was dumb.
You mean Crash Bandicoot?
That's the one.
Crash
Crash
Bandicoot,
Bandicoot.
Yeah, I
oh,
think
the
I think
original?
if they could
that
get
could be good.
yeah, if they could get
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 1 on there, that would be
really good.
that would be a big.
Yeah, but that's probably. I doubt that it
I don't think they could probably work. Konami's willing.
Some kind
to,
of Resident Evil.
I feel like if
There's
they
a lot
were
of
going to do it
Resident
though,
Evils.
they would have announced.
Yeah,
it.
if it would have been
So-
Resident Evil 2, that would get me excited. I love that game. I played the heck out of that.
But they're doing the remake of that anyway.
I mean, if
Or
they
the reboot,
maybe if they
or
put
the
Final
remastered.
Fantasy 8 on there, I would be excited since that's being left out of all the Switch updates that are coming. They're releasing like a bunch of Final Fantasy games, but for some reason they left out the best one, which is 8.
What about
You mean
Parappa the Rappa?
Okay, 4 is good, but
Oh,
I like 8 better. So
Fair enough.
Mortal Kombat 2.
Twisted Metal.
Oh my goodness.
Oddworld
I
is-
would buy it for Twisted Metal.
yeah,
Hands
if
down.
Twisted Metal was on
Oh,
there,
yeah,
that would
Twisted
be
Metal.
fantastic.
I feel like this is kind of a steep price though compared to the Nintendo
It is $100,
ones.
but they probably
Well,
are
it's-
thinking it's a later generation console. You know,
It is
But-
going to require a bit more processing.
I think that the other aspect of it too is, I mean, there's an article on The Verge that was out that said a lot of the games that they've already mentioned you can already get on iOS, PC, and Nintendo
Yeah.
Switch right now or
and
soon.
I'm wondering.
So it's like, we just ported things we already ported.
Yeah, so it almost feels like that makes it that much more expensive to buy it on this specific device when you can get it on a bunch of different ones.
Gran Turismo would be good. They got to do that. That's got to be
that
on
would
there.
be
Gran
good.
Turismo 2 could be
Yeah.
on there. That's like a Sony game, isn't it? So they could put that on there.
It would be cool if they put, the series of games that came out on that. Like, there's 4 Crash Bandicoots that were during
Yeah,
that?
but if it's part of the 20, I would be like, no, thank you.
No, I know. If they
'cause
considered it like
a
a
collection, or
collection,
something.
yeah. Anyway,
So now really, I mean, you've got to try and collect all of these, right? You've got your Nintendo Classic, your Super Nintendo Classic.
I think I need
your
like
PlayStation Classic.
10 more HDMI ports on my
No,
TV.
you just swap. I mean, if it's like
know.
those
You get a
other ones
Switch.
are, you can just swap that out with whatever classic one you're wanting to plug in.
True.
How about Oddworld? That's one of my favorite PlayStation.
Yeah, I think
games.
yeah,
Trevor
Oddworld
said
was
Oh,
that
did you
again.
say that? I'm sorry.
I kind of just it was all
Soul Reaver was really good. I wonder if they'll ever make another one. Remember the Legacy of Kain? Anybody play that?
well, actually, on that note, no, they will not make another one. I don't think because they did try and make another one, and it turned into a different game, and then that just disappeared entirely. So
I wonder who owns the rights to that anymore.
I don't remember who it was.
Dino Crisis. There we go. I actually never played that, but I remember it kind of came on the hills of Resident Evil 2, so it was that kind of
was-
tank controls.
A PlayStation 1 was the only PlayStation I owned, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, that pretty much almost confirms that we're going to get a 64
Oh, yeah.
Classic,
Maybe.
right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, if because I think a lot
I
of
want
the
a
concerns
cube.
that-
I want a cube.
A GameCube?
Yeah, I totally
That-
want him to come out with a new.
yeah, but that
and I want it to be a little tiny cube. It's a little
Yeah, but you're
box.
talking that's
that
like a
would be
PlayStation
cool.
2
That would be a
equivalent, or
much.
better.
I mean, but at the same time, we didn't
cool,
know
though.
that they were going to be able to I think that was the concern with the 64 one was can they actually port those games and make them work in a tiny little console like that?
I guess I wasn't worried about that.
Well,
look at what Apple can do with a watch.
I understand. I had just heard that was one of the things that people said maybe that's where Nintendo or Super Nintendo Classic is the end of the line here. But then, if Sony's able to do this, we've got to be able to have a 64,
I am curious
right?
what Nintendo's plan is for that, just because now that their online service released on the 18th, was that yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. Last night, I went ahead and got it just because I really want to check it out, and I figured for a year I'll try it and see what I think.
Yeah.
What's the year price?
Well, if you do the family, it's $35 for a year.
Oh, that's cheap.
Yeah. But if you do single person, it's $20. And
that's right.
And I wanted to see what some of the they have an NES NES on it. They call it just pretty much Nintendo Entertainment System when you get that with the subscription, and so it's pretty much like having your little classic but on your Switch, but it doesn't have all those games. It has about 20 games on it right now.
So I can't put all the backlog of games that
you
I
can't.
own.
Yeah, you
on
can't.
it.
You can't put add ROMs to it.
Oh,
But they
okay.
said they're going to continue to add games every month.
Oh, that's cool.
And the coolest part about it that I think is neat is hey, you want to play Super Mario Brothers 3 with me? Let's play through it. We can do it online. And they're actually doing the work
cool.
to make these classic games online compatible.
I think that's great because there's such a large catalog of games over the last 30 years that people who didn't play them when they came out have an opportunity to at least see the progression of video games over time. Because, there's so many games that were amazing for their time.
And there's also some cool stuff that they're doing with the online that it's not just 2-player games are online compatible. You could play let's say we're playing a game I don't know. Zelda's probably a bad example, but a game where you maybe want to play for a little bit and then when you were a kid and you had a 1-player game and your friend or your brother or your cousin or your sister or whoever is over at your house and you'd play till you died or ran out of lives
absolutely.
and then you'd hand the controller over.
Yep.
Well, you can do that online now with this. So they can watch you play through it while you're playing and then you go, okay, it's your turn, and then they can take over.
In the same world?
Yeah, well, just like you would if they're sitting next to you.
Oh my goodness.
So they just take over
cool.
controller over control when you tell them to or whatever.
That's
and
actually really cool.
So yeah,
Which works great for online or if you're in the same room with
you're in
your
the same-
individual switches. I mean,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
could. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The other thing they announced though is it's a little steep on the price, but for $60 you can get 2 NES Classic wireless controllers that charge on the side of the Switch. They plug right
Wow.
in. Yeah.
they look
Can
a little
you use
silly.
them for other games?
I'm sure
I
you
think
could
it's
try,
just
but
basic
you
controllers.
figure it's like a 4-button controller. So I mean,
Yeah,
you
it
get
ain't-
start, select, A, B.
But those are pretty sweet.
I'm pretty sure they would be
You could
super
probably
uncomfortable,
play some games because I mean, there's some of them that
Those controllers still feel great because on the NES Classic, I thought the same thing. I was like, "Ew, this square boxy thing."
You know what though? Those they're so.
Maybe I have weird hands.
Yeah, on the Classic, I just gravitated back to them immediately,
Yeah,
and I was
I
like, "Oh, it's just so comfortable."
Well, it's just
for being
it's
so
just
square.
I think if it had more
Simplistic.
buttons and you had to use shoulder buttons and you had to do all that, it's gonna be awful.
I'll
but
tell you what, I
since
don't
it's-
like the newer ones where they had the 4 buttons. You remember that?
Are you talking about the
The
Super
Super
Nintendo?
Yeah.
They have
It was
the
much-
newer
six
one.
or something.
Well, the controller from this one that's newer
Yeah.
than that. It's got the 4 buttons.
Yeah, but
And it
they're
was just-
curved and they fit in your hand.
That
better.
was not nearly as comfortable, I think, as this. And maybe it is the simplistic buttons. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways,
I love
this,
the Super Nintendo
this is still
controller.
it's still a really cool idea that they've
Yeah.
implemented. It's $60, but I'm so tempted just
But
because
that's the price of a couple extra Joy-Cons.
what's the price of one set of Joy-Cons?
That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the chat, Mirage Leonardo 84. He said they said they need to put Legend of Dragon and Dino Crisis on that bad boy and
Dino
Chrono
Crisis was fun.
Trigger
Chrono Trigger, yeah.
for the PS1 Mini, which those sound like those could be some decent games.
Trevi91 mentioned Torok. That was only on the 64, but yeah, if they put that on if they made it into
my
a 64
Yeah,
classic,
that would be cool.
You can actually get Torok on PC. There's a company that went back and kind of upgraded it or remastered it for
That's
PC.
interesting.
If they did a 64, what would be your What would be your games that would have to be on there?
Okay, so real quick before, hold that thought for just a second. But what I was getting at is I'm wondering with this announcement, like if the Nintendo Online thing is, if they're going to add Super Nintendo games to that service eventually, and if that's the case, will they eventually add 64 games to it?
To see if they don't do a classic then.
And then I wonder, like, where does the classic thing fall? Like, will they, I mean, it seems like an obvious no-brainer that they could probably sell an N64 Classic for $80 and people would just buy it like gangbusters.
I probably would.
But yeah, all right, Trevi says Battle. What?
But if their goal is to sell their new console.
Yeah, but they've released these alongside the Switch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So, but I don't know if they. Yeah, but if they're trying to sell their service, I could see what you mean.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if
yeah.
they're trying to push the service.
Recurring revenue, man.
But you also are looking at something that, if you've got, I mean, the way that a lot of people have bought video games numerous times for different remasters or on different consoles, I think that you would still have people that would buy it on the Switch and buy the classic, because if nothing else, it's something that sits on your desk and looks pretty. There's that collectible feature of that. Even if you don't end up using it as much, you know you always have that. It's something that's easy to take and play with, family and not have to worry about your Switch.
I take my anytime we go out of town for like family holiday, right? Or even when we took vacation, I always grab my little case with the classic in it because it's an immediate, easy. Like, hey, who wants to play some Tetris? Who wants to play some Super Mario Brothers?
Man, it's just...
And you just jump in, and everyone just jumps in and can have fun.
The NES just takes me back to, like, second grade, eating frozen chicken nuggets, playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Like, it was just... I remember my brother bought one, and he was visiting from out of town, and he forgot it. And I was like in heaven for like however long he left it at my place, just playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. But I think if you're talking about N64 games, it's pretty obvious that you want Mario 64, you want Ocarina of Time, you want GoldenEye, which is probably impossible because of Rare.
But I mean,
that's like
what
the
was it?
quintessential
Super Mario 3, was that the one on that?
What are you talking about?
I'm
64?
sorry.
No, that'd be Mario 64.
NES was Super Mario 3.
Yeah,
That's true.
Mario Kart 64, Donkey Kong, Banjo-Kazooie, Perfect Dark,
Super Smash
Star
Bros.
Fox 64. Probably, the first Smash was on there.
Yep.
What else? Paper Mario, that was introduced there. Wave Race. Please give me Wave Race.
Oh,
I
yes.
loved Wave
Race. That game was... Like, everybody that I knew that had a 64 had Wave Race and Super Mario 64.
Wasn't that also a stand-up arcade, too?
You didn't have Mario or Wave Race?
I don't even know what that is.
What?
What games did you have on your 64? How did you not have Mario?
Kuipers, find it for him.
Those like came with them.
No, it didn't.
Well, in fairness, I did get it later. I didn't have it initially. I got it like way after everybody else had it.
Okay.
So.
I was gonna say, how did you not get Mario? Because that was like they didn't come with it.
You're right. They didn't. They were. I think that those two were like the two first games that came out for 64, and that's why everybody had those.
What's the Star Wars game?
There's Shadow of the Empire.
Rogue Squadron.
No.
Oh, Shadow of the Empire.
Shadow of the Empire.
Oh,
there
Shadow
was
of the
that.
Empire would be
There
really
was
good.
also the
Rogue
one
Squadron came out later, and it was good. Yeah. But I mean, Dash Rendar is where it's at, man.
Yeah, that's true.
We had the Pod Racer one.
That wouldn't happen though, sadly.
Why? Who? Oh, because of Disney, probably.
Disney,
yeah. Shadow of the Empire was an awesome game.
I love that game. Yeah.
I can't. That was like the first one where you had a really cool snow speeder experience where you're like tying up the AT-ATs.
I think that's also the weird place that you get into with Nintendo 64 and with the PlayStation, where you've got a lot of games that you may see that have third party that are going to make it a little more difficult to be able to try and look at that. So you don't have as many first party games like the original Nintendo and Super Nintendo did that.
Probably one of my most bummer memories about the N64 that now I have this weird fondness for this game is Diddy Kong Racing. Now I'm not going to say Diddy Kong Racing is a good game by the long stretch of it, but it was the game that I put on my Christmas list, and I only got one game for Christmas if I got a game because I was like $60, and I remember getting it and being like, oh man, this is my game for like maybe a year. Like this is my like people want to know why I purchase so many games now. It's just like I remember growing up and being like limited to one game a year, and it's like
scarred you.
Yeah, and it's like
Diddy Kong Racing. I've got to get them all.
And so like Diddy Kong, I now have this weird like like Stockholm syndrome with Diddy Kong Racing, because now I see it and I'm very nostalgic for it. I'm just like, I want to play it. But I remember at the time I was just like, I can't play these maps anymore. I've just been racing forever and I don't want to do it. But it's fine. It's fine.
Hey, stepping back to those
Blast Corps, that game was cool. Did anybody play that? That was like one of the first games I experienced with like destructible environments and stuff like that.
Blast Corps. I don't know if I ever heard of that one.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Oh, stepping back to the those controllers, the classic controllers for the Switch.
Yeah.
You can only purchase them if you have the subscription.
Yeah, you have to have the online
So
subscription.
you have to first get the subscription, and they're not shipping until December. It said too. But that's interesting.
Gotcha.
It's behind the paywall of the subscription.
Well, I think it's because that's the only games you'd play with it.
Yeah, because you'd have to have
games.
the other. You'd have to have four buttons.
Yeah.
For all the other games.
But now I kind of want to get it, Eric. I think you maybe have talked me into it.
I mean, it's pretty cool.
$20 for a single user for the year.
Yeah, and plus as they add stuff to it, it's cool. I mean, if your kids are on that, I mean, 35 isn't bad, but it at least it lets them play games. But that's really the only advantage is letting them play games online.
That means they can play under their account online.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Even if it's on the same Switch.
But that is nice that it doesn't turn it into a everybody has to have their own subscription that's $20.
Well, the other thing that we ran into in our household, because we have 2 Switches, it's like we would have to buy games twice unless I bought physical copies, which I didn't want to do. And so like a lot of times there would just be a few games on one Switch and then more games on the other one. But with this, now that they have it combined, you can't, it's not as nice as Xbox Live, but it's kind of more like PlayStation setup.
So you both can play it on 2 separate Switches with the same family account?
Well, technically. So here's the thing is everywhere you go to look for it online right now, it says you cannot do that. But it's like the PlayStation, and what you have to do is, let's say, hey, the Switch that I consider my own, and then I have another Switch that's kind of like the family one that my wife and the kids play.
Right.
And so what I have to do, though, is make that one the primary account.
The one that manages
and that's the one that's like, hey, this is my main Switch, and that one lets other users play the games on the software on that.
But it only lets you play on subsequent Switches.
So on so if I put it as mine is not this like a secondary system, so I made mine the secondary. Here's the only sucky part is it'll only let me play my games if I have an internet connection. So as long as if you're out of if you're traveling,
on the primary one it'll.
But on the primary, it'll let anybody do anything at any time.
So if you've already installed the game, you're good.
Right. Yeah.
Huh.
And so, but at least it's a workaround that I didn't know wasn't possible till the online service started. So at least now, if I only have to buy a game once, if we
and so that's good for all new games too.
Yeah, yeah. On old games,
doing digital because as long as you do digital games.
Yeah, yeah. So you could buy a game once, and then both of you could play like you could. We were both of my systems were playing Puyo Puyo Tetris tonight over the internet, and it was fine. So that's just a kind of a cool tip for people that have maybe multiple ones. But yeah, I don't know that there are a lot of Nintendo games though. Like I didn't get this service for playing games online really because for one, the only game I play online, if ever, is Fortnite on the Switch, which is very rare that I play that on the Switch.
Right.
That's probably what gets played on ours the most. And Puyo Puyo.
And that one's already. You don't need the online service to play it online.
Free.
Well, that and I think it's like a business thing because Epic probably doesn't want that paywall.
Yeah.
And so it's still unclear if Nintendo is going to start charging or is going to make other third-party games pay for the online service to be able to play online. I don't know that yet, but right now, I mean, you got Splatoon. I guess Smash. I mean, right, Kuipers.
Yep. Kuipers, you awake?
Smash.
Yeah, I'm awake.
Smash on in December. If I want to play Smash with Kuipers, I got to have the internet, the online.
Or we have to hang out. Ew.
Oh, gross. In person?
Yeah, gross. Let's not hang out ever.
Anyways, we think we missed some stuff. Duke Nukem. Trevi91 asked if Duke Nukem was on N64. It was, yes. A really crude version of it. Crude and crass, I think was the... No, I'm just kidding.
Isn't that all Duke Nukems?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, they were PC first, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good memories.
Guys, I just saw Mutiny Teddy join and then disappear.
Yeah, he joined to the left.
He's around.
It's good to know.
It's good to know.
Thanks for checking in.
Thanks for checking in,
Duke Nukem
Teddy.
One of the first ones that had nudity.
It didn't have nudity in this. Not on the N64 version. It might have
on the PC version. There was a hidden room in like a nightclub
Yeah.
that had a poster on the wall of a topless dancer.
I guess if you're
in like really bad pixel
I
art.
guess if you're like 15 years old, those square pepperoni nipples are really doing it for you.
You got to realize that was before the internet.
When you're a 15-year-old, before the internet.
I mean, beginning of the internet. If you had an Alt Vista account, you may have chat roomed somebody and they sent you a picture, but
Alt Vista.
that was about it. Yeah, that was.
I think you're really dating yourself here, Jeremy.
AOL's where it wasn't.
That was pre Alt Vista or pre.
What
AOL.
about Killer Instinct Gold? That was a really good fighting game on the N64.
They could put the Pokemon Stadium in there for 64.
Yeah.
That was a fun game.
Was it?
I didn't play that one.
If you like Pokemon,
I like that comment, Trevor.
I mean,
I just love the out of the blue. Was it?
Well, I remember playing that and be like, "This is so boring."
It was like kind of a bad fighting game, wasn't it?
It was the Pokemon battle system without the RPG, which was the main reason I've ever played the Pokemon games.
Yeah, but they've released like other Pokemon Stadium games too, and I just have never. Really
they had
been
mini
into
games
that.
in it too.
Pokemon Snap. That's what they need to have.
Was that on the N64?
Yes, it was.
That just doesn't.
But you have to have a camera for it, don't you?
No,
Oh.
it was all. It was.
You walked around with a camera, didn't you?
It was totally stupid, but it was so much fun.
Yeah.
See, and I had maybe it's just because I had fond memories of friends that had the Pokemon Stadium, and we would play that a lot when that first came out.
Yeah,
and because it had the ability to bring
Stop bragging. You had friends.
Well, I mean, you got if you're likable, that's what happens, Jeremy.
Pilot Wings, that'll
Just
definitely.
kidding,
Pilot
buddy.
Wings will definitely be on there. That was a
Pilot
launch
Wings?
title with the
Triggered.
Pilot Wings
love you,
and
Jeremy.
I know.
Mario 64 and Wave Race were all like launch games. Mischief Makers, I remember that game, but I didn't buy it. Anyways, we could run down.
All we're saying is
Nostalgia
we
Lane.
want the 64 classic.
That would be cool.
I want the 64 classic.
I just want it primarily so I can hold that stupid controller because I love that
Yep.
controller.
I love
Grips
that
again.
controller too.
It's
Hand cramps again. Why is this so
it would
poorly
be.
designed?
I wonder if they could own
That
if
was
they
the
own-
rounded one.
What?
Was that the weird rounded?
It was the one with three things.
Three.
Oh
because
my
the
goodness!
humans
the
have three
little-
arms.
No, it was
You
because
liked
no,
that
Trevor.
thing?
Here's why they did it.
I liked it.
Because it was one of the first joysticks.
It's because
So-
it
the
was
first analog
It was
stick.
one
Yeah.
of the first analog sticks,
And they were
didn't know how
trying to
design
figure
it.
out how to do it. I mean, you figure
Yeah.
they're the first ones to do that on a
They
home
were a
console,
pioneer,
And they figured not everybody needed that for every single game, and little did they know every single game was going to just completely ignore the D-pad.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm saying they definitely taught people what not to do.
Well, and I think what was cool about it though, they had the foresight to say, hey, we know we use these like the bumpers, and like if you're playing a game with the D-pad, there's the bumper, but then they added the Z trigger, the Z trigger under the stick. So I mean, they thought it out pretty well, and I never got hand cramps from it. But
I never did either.
Yeah.
I think it was just one of those things that they did. I don't think that they expected everybody to use the analog stick.
it's really like
they wanted to have the option there.
It's really like the iPhone notch of Nintendo's.
true.
It's really iconic.
It is
all
iconic.
it is.
like
It's
the
iconic.
eyebrow, you mean?
Yeah, the unibrow of the iPhone.
Gosh.
Speaking of that, did you guys notice how all the wallpapers on the phones for the new iPhone XS like have like a planet, and so it's like curved just so it all the black space where there's no stars, it's just black, is right where the notch is.
So you
can't see it. Yeah, so I was like, that's kind of funny. Like, are they like
interesting.
pretending it's not there, or what are they trying to do here?
They're like,
Anyways.
this wasn't iconic.
Yeah, unibrows are cool. Anyways, that's a lot about classic consoles that are happening. And who's been playing the Tomb Raider? Anybody?
I've been playing the Tomb Raider.
Maze.
Trevor, you not playing any Tomb Raider?
I haven't bought it.
Oh, okay.
I'll pick it up.
It's
I'll pick it up
good.
eventually.
I like it.
I'm trying to be smarter about how many games I buy.
Yeah, I finished Spider-Man, and I was like, that was a really good story, and that was really fun to swing around on. I enjoyed it.
I've been working to 100% it.
But
yeah, I kind of want
it is kind of that.
I did not
too.
100%.
It is kind of that game you want 100% because it's it's just got that carrot on the stick, but it's achievable.
It's achievable. That's what I would be tempted to do 100% like Uncharted games, but they've got like multiplayer online stuff, and I'm just like, nope, never gonna happen. I like the online stuff.
I love the way that it's, and we talked about it last week. Not everything is unlocked for you right away.
Well, and the problem with like Uncharted though, for me, is that it's not open world. And to get those, if you miss something, you got to go back to the earlier level, and that's just no fun. So it's like games like this, or God of War, or even this Horizon, like they're tempting to me, but I still don't quite get there because I'm just like, I don't know if I want to. And I mean, here's the thing: is this is not a knock against Spider-Man at all, but it is definitely if you took away like the excellent writing and the excellent traversal, like it's just one of those games. Like it is really one of those games that you go around and you collect things and you do the side quests and you do the thing.
It is.
And I'm not trying to say that's a bad thing, but it is definitely
But
at
aren't
its
you
core.
doing that in Tomb Raider?
Yeah, I mean, you're doing that in every game anymore. Every game is that now. Like everything has like levels, and you upgrade and you get experience
I'm catching myself
points.
in Tomb Raider not playing the missions and looking at my map and finding all the little hidden gems and stuff.
Well, in Tomb Raider 2, they have those. Now they've added since this last game, they added those tombs. They're like actual
I love the puzzle aspect of those. Love it. That was my best. Anyway, I know we're migrating into that.
But I think that Spider-Man, I think it's a great game, but I also think like it definitely feels kind of like Horizon to me in that way that it's like there's just a billion icons on a map. At least they do, Kyle, like you said, they do dole them out to you slowly.
That's the thing that's kept me on them and wanting to complete all of them, because it's like, oh, I just unlocked a new thing, so now if I just kind of try and pick these apart and then jump into a storyline after I've cleared almost everything on the map except for like the random crime encounters, I can easily manage this, and it's not like I'm sitting there after I'm at the very end of the game going, oh, now I got to go collect all those backpacks that I don't really care as much about because I've finished the story. It makes it so that you've got that carrot dangling in front of you.
For me, though, it's like I see all those and I'll do them as I'm going because I'm like, oh, I need these for upgrades. And I need.
Oh, yeah.
But once I saw the end of the story coming in sight, I completely gave up on all of that. I did not care anymore. So like as soon as I got like, that's just me. I'm not saying that's the way anybody else plays, but like I got to the point where, hey, the end is in sight. And I just barreled through all the story quests at that point. And then I finished the game and I'm like, I should do some more stuff. And then, nope, it's going to sit at 77% forever.
I think for me, some of it too is the chasing down the little nuggets that they put into it that,
like chicken?
Yeah, like all the chicken. I mean, like all the little story underlying that they put in with all those backpacks and all the little like trinkets that he finds and that you go, oh, okay, this adds to the world that they've created here and this version of Spider-Man. And I mean, it's there's enough, and maybe some of it's because I'm a Marvel fan that like seeing all these little things here and there, I'm like, ooh, I see what that is. Ooh, I see what that is. And so that keeps pushing me towards finishing it. But I think this is one of those games that I'm exactly like you guys. I don't ever go and finish everything, and this game I really want to. So but I set it aside for a while. I haven't finished that yet, and
you moved to Tomb.
I moved to Tomb Raider because I feel like I'm going to move through that game a lot faster. So then I can, just because I don't feel like there's the same kind of grab to go and get every single tomb and everything else for me. Because I never finished all of the tombs in the other two. And some of it was because I didn't come across them. If I come across them, I'll but I'm not like looking at the screen and going after things.
Yeah, I kind of just play. I just progress
the story,
naturally how it goes. I don't go out of my way to find that stuff usually.
So that's why I'm like, I'll probably finish this a lot quicker, and then I can send it back and get the beginning of October. That'll be.
When
busy with
I think I just have a hard time with story games. I can't like if it's a story driven game.
So you love Call of Duty.
Well, I know. I'm saying I can't stop it and then go. I can't pause and go play another story game.
But I'm trying to finish this story.
It's like if I'm watching a Netflix series, I'm not going to get halfway through it and start another Netflix series. I never do that. Like,
and I'm usually not. I think this is mostly because I'm in the GameFly, wanting to get one of these games back, and I know I want to spend more time with Spider-Man than I do with Tomb Raider. So
you're just pausing.
It's kind of a tactical move.
Trevor, I felt like you were going to say something, and we stomped all over it. Was there something you were going to add?
No, it was nothing important.
Oh, okay.
It's always important, Trevor.
So Spider-Man is a cool game.
Yep.
Jeremy, you fell off it. Did you even finish the story, or you just were like, I'm done?
I didn't finish it all.
Oh, really? Why did you quit?
Because I got Tomb Raider and GameFly, and I started playing it and said, I'll just send this one back.
Oh, you sent Spider-Man back?
Yeah.
Really?
I just didn't, I don't know, it didn't hold me enough. I mean, great mechanics, no doubt about it. It was better than I thought it was going to be.
It had all those little icons on the map. How did you resist them?
I got a lot of them.
But I mean, that's
I didn't
totally
story
unlike you.
But I didn't do story at all.
Why didn't you do the story at all?
You have to do the story to like progress to get more things.
I think I was on the third story thing. Maybe fourth.
See, you didn't even see like any of the game then.
Nope. Yeah. It just didn't. I've never cared about Spider-Man from a storyline.
I don't freaking care about him either.
It just didn't hold me.
That's insane.
It wasn't
to me.
enough.
There was one complaint I was going to voice.
Yeah.
Yes, voice it.
So they kind of make a big deal about having the Sinister Six in there.
Yeah.
And I felt like all those boss fights were super boring. It's just like, because they just seemed like
the waves
done.
of baddies, and then you're done.
No, it wasn't even that. They were decent boss fights, but they were just done.
I don't think you got
so
to any
fast.
boss fights, Jeremy.
The first
No,
one.
you didn't get to any of them.
You fought Fisk in his office at the opening of the game.
Yep.
Did you even
Good
get to
job.
the shocker?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. So,
I should have known.
did you? So, Trevor, did you finish the story, or are you close?
I'm done.
Are you done with it? Okay.
I've got 95% completion.
Oh wow,
too, so yeah.
That's crazy. That's the thing.
I beat a ton of those construction zone areas, though.
Yeah, because there wasn't much else
to beat. That was
beat.
repetitive.
But I will say, Jeremy, the only thing that I feel like, I mean, whatever. You don't like the game. You don't like the game. I don't care. That's fine.
No,
I'm
not trying to poo-poo on it either.
But I would say if anybody's at that point where Jeremy is like, I don't know, like you got to power through the first 10 or so story missions because that leads you to unlocking other side quest stuff and other upgrade paths. And so if you do not do those, if you just, because like it's easy to get very distracted with just doing the side stuff right away.
Yeah.
But if you don't at least,
they don't really help you upgrade.
if you don't,
much.
if you don't power through the story at the beginning, like because you unlock a lot of very important skills through the story missions, and so it's one of those things where you gotta.
If I put together my list of fall games, Spider-Man only showed up on it because it came out early. Like, you see what I mean?
But I'm so bored. The idea that Tomb Raider it takes precedent is surprising to me because I really don't.
But I've played all of them.
It doesn't matter. What does that matter? It could be.
I don't know because it feels just like the last one.
I know, but does that mean that to me that's what I'm struggling with it right now.
Okay,
because I'm just like
it is very.
It's like I played this twice now, and and it's like it's better, and I don't know, and like when the thing is like with the story too.
How do you like building your characters? Specials.
I mean, you did do that in the last game too. I mean, you could customize that stuff, and like, I think that it's more of the same gameplay, which I like, but also like the story side of it frustrates me because it's a little melodramatic, and sometimes the acting is like a little over the top in a weird way, and then like it amplifies it because the facial animations are so bad compared to like this Insomniac game or like another first party Sony game. Like you look at God of War or Horizon, or Uncharted.
I did just hear that they may be dropping her, the actress, in future games.
I mean,
it's not the actress that I know, but talking about.
But I read an article about that where they're saying that they're leaning towards going with a different character for future games than the lady from the movie.
They kind of have like
it's not the lady from the movie
or whatever.
They kind of have what is it, like Shenmue face is what I call it.
Yeah, it's like it looks kind of plastic.
Like it's plasticky and it's not emotive. Like you look at like Peter Parker's face.
It's very muted.
or Kratos and stuff, and you can tell that they did a lot of work to map those, digitally map the face and the facial expressions, and it conveys the emotion in a way that's more believable and draws you in. And it's just like Oh, go ahead.
On that mention, there were these moments. Like one of them was with him and Mary Jane. It was really good, and it showcased that. I don't want to give it away just because it was such a good.
Don't show that, Trevor. I mean, not Trevor. Sorry, Kuipers.
I'm sorry, but when you're talking about
people.
Shenmue,
I know. I love this because I saw someone do this. Where have you guys seen this?
Yeah, it's
the boat people.
It's the boat, but you can't swim in this game, but you can kind of bunny hop through the water, and someone got all the way out to this boat, and it's like they look fine from a distance, but you get up close, and these NPCs look like monsters.
It's an Easter egg, though, because these were what the ones in that Spider-Man 2 game that everybody loved looked like.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. So it's like
that's so good.
It's a crazy Easter egg.
It's like, hey, if you hopped out here far enough.
Yeah, exactly. Because there were people that found that in that game, and it was notorious for how terrible the people on boats looked. So they put them in there on purpose.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
That's so funny.
The boat people.
The weird boat people. But yeah, I think that's what I'm struggling with Tomb Raider. It's like I just don't feel connected to the story, and plus Laura is kind of a douchebag, and like I just can't empathize with her character at all because
she has no qualms about killing everybody and anybody.
That's just not that. She caught, like at the beginning of the game, as a spoiler, she causes this huge like tsunami that kills a whole village of people pretty much.
She doesn't care about
and
it.
She's just like
kind of bad.
And she's just like,
didn't.
meh. Like she
thought she was gonna die.
She's like an entitled, spoiled brat, and it's really bothering me to play through this game because I'm just
it's her mentality. She's trying to save everyone.
Well, I think that
she's trying to kill. She kills dudes with no. She's so violent.
She's violent.
She pickaxes a dude in the back.
That's why I like it. I don't know.
But I mean, it's this weird place that her character has been driven to with the way that they've written these stories, because she wasn't quite like that in the first one, and now you're at this point where she's just like, these people are from Trinity, so I'm going to murder them.
What do you say? She's the Pokemon of murdering.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotta kill them all.
And she, I mean, it's
Trinity,
also
you're dead.
It's also this weird like continuation of a story that I just don't care about anymore.
Trinity.
Like
I know that insignia anywhere.
How long is she going to be following this path that her father didn't finish? To say, like, at some point, like there should have been a turn, and I think that after that last game, this should have been a turn that wasn't about her following something, trying to like avenge her father in this weird way that she is.
The fact that they're still beating that drum drives me nuts.
It's like that, because I just played that mission last night, or like the point where she has that flashback and you're running through the mansion.
Yeah.
And
I was just going to ask what your thoughts were about that.
I thought that was a fun level.
I thought it was interesting to provide a little more depth of character to her father.
There could be spoilers there, so be careful.
Well, no, that's you're right, but I think it gave more depth to her father's character that you didn't know.
Yeah, he seemed like an awful person too.
That you didn't know early on. It made him even worse, even more.
It's like she's like him,
crazy.
And so maybe this is just like a big adventure about a terrible person and her terrible father that influenced her. But here's the problem I have with the violence thing. Like, not that it's violence. I like killing things in video games. That's fun.
Yeah.
But like, she was never that violent in the earlier games.
Oh no.
So to say that like, oh, this is her progressing, but like she didn't start out that violent and now she's getting more violent, and it's like, well, then what happened between these games and the games that were out earlier? Like, if this is supposed to be the rise and the fall and the shadow and the whatever, like why is she suddenly not nearly as violent in those
she
other
just
games?
shoots them. She doesn't eviscerate them.
I mean, she's like going full Predator, smearing herself in mud and sneaking up and just jabbing a pickaxe in someone's back.
The dude she's with,
Jonah.
Sometimes it's kind of comical because he's kind of like looking at her like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Like, without saying it, but like, really?
Well, even in the beginning of the game where the village is wiped out,
he's
trying to help the villagers.
Like, we need to help these people.
And she's like, but Trinity. But Trinity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's like there should be some different kind of protagonist or of antagonist that she's going after.
There's someone behind the strings of Trinity, and you find out
something different
what
that's
it is.
not just like her following her father's
It's
footsteps.
a cult. It's like a cult thing. That's all this is about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here,
Here's
put
what
all
I think
that.
she's going to figure
All that
out.
aside, I'm enjoying playing the game.
Talk future, way in the future, right? She's going to find out that her father was actually
The founder
of Trinity.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
And then that's when she makes a turn for the better, maybe. That's when she stops being self-centered.
that's when she
takes
murders
over
even
Trinity.
more.
Oh,
that's
and
where
then
she
okay.
rises.
But that doesn't
she
line
rises
up
to
with.
his
That's
position.
not canonical with the other.
I
Tomb
know,
Raider
but
games.
yeah, whatever.
I think it is supposed to be a reboot. So
Yeah.
It's the
That's where it's
the
leading
darkest
to.
universe.
Yeah, it's a reboot
Darkest
from that.
timeline.
What was that? 2013 or 2009 Tomb Raider? Is that the year that first one?
Underworld was the last one.
Oh, you're talking about.
I'm talking about like this,
the original.
this
not the-
series.
Was it Rise
of
of
her.
the Tomb- or-
No, the original
that
was.
was-
It was
the
just called
Tomb Raider.
Raider,
Just
yeah.
Tomb Raider. Yeah.
What year was that? Was that 2013?
That was like 11 or something. 13.
Something like that, 11 or
Yeah.
13.
Anyways, that's one thing. But like you said, Kyle, aside from that, like the gameplay is fun. And honestly, the shooting in the game isn't that enjoyable.
No.
And the combat isn't great. It's all about the tombs for me and the puzzles. That's what I like doing.
That's the same thing for me. I like talking to villagers so that I can find a quest to go find
Yeah.
some puzzle somewhere.
And I wish,
or how to get to this, how do I traverse this area in order to get to, I know something's over there,
Yeah.
but I don't know how to get there, and I got to go through this cave underwater, and I like that stuff.
It's kind of a similar complaint that I have with some of the Uncharted games. Is like, I mean, nothing against Uncharted either, but I just don't necessarily enjoy that combat. It's a nice distraction from the other stuff to break up the things, but like, it's just not a fun combat system necessarily. And
I love
so
that.
I will say though,
see, but Uncharted, it's just like you push a button, and it just locks onto an enemy, and you shoot them, and then that's over.
What?
Like,
What are you talking about?
I do like in this game not trying to shoot people and only trying
to stealth murder them.
And
that's
hide them
much
in
better.
bushes.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Or string them up
Called
to a
Shadow.
tree.
Trevor, sorry,
or-
I never play it with I always play it with the auto lock on. That's probably why.
Really? I didn't even know there was lock on.
That's what it defaults to, and so I
Does it
just
really?
if you play it on the normal setting at least, it always defaults to the every game I've played of Tomb Raider. I mean of.
It's because you always
Uncharted.
play everything
Uncharted.
on hard.
Not.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I bet you shut it off immediately if you
I do
realize
hate.
it.
I do hate lock on.
Yeah,
so.
but I don't know. It's just I don't mind it. It's just like that's not what I'm there for. I'm there for the puzzles. Like I love the puzzle solving. I love
Yeah.
I just and so I don't know.
I like one of the reasons I liked Uncharted's combat is just because it feels really good. Just because you feel like an action hero in a lot of ways. Just the way
That's true. I'll
fluid
give you
way the hand to hand stuff. and
Yeah.
stuff. Not to talk about.
No, but I think you're right though. That is to its advantage. Where, but part of it is like this Indiana Jones thing, and like Indiana Jones definitely murdered some people here and there, but it just never felt like
It was more
unjustified.
about-
Never felt like it was the only option or path that he had.
Yeah, and I just wish they gave Laura more tools to not, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, death and murder is bad. I love it in video
To
games.
just
Don't get me-
sneak past
but I
people.
want more options to.
She does not want to sneak past anyone. She wants to kill them all.
Yeah.
It really is that. Like, I've tried sneaking past groups of the Trinity people.
I gotta kill him.
And eventually it's like, nope, I have to kill them all.
Laura's-
It's the only way.
I'm just imagining Laura's got this inner monologue. She's, what am I doing?
I've lost control.
These.
Well, it's almost like that's what they've. It's almost like that's what they've set this whole game up for.
murdering.
Oh, she's got bloodlust,
That's
man.
what the whole game feels like it's set up on, because that's from the beginning. The fact that she's on this quest and is just, you can tell she just abandons everything on the quest for getting that like we talked about when there's the tsunami and the flooding, and she's just like, I don't care, I
And
gotta
she knew it
save
was
the
her
world.
fault.
I
And-
gotta save the world, and so that's why I picked up the knife.
Yeah.
That caused everything.
Yeah.
And so we need to go right now. I don't care about these people. I need to go
Yeah.
murder
She's
some more.
very
Well,
self-centered.
see, and it's funny because, I mean, we talked about the tsunami part, so I don't think it's that big of a thing to go dive
I mean,
into
it's
that a little
early.
bit, I guess.
It's early on in the
But-
game.
Yeah, but when she picks up the knife that causes the tsunami,
dagger.
the dagger, when she did that, there's this moment where she verbally recognizes that, yeah, I did that. Oh well. Like basically, like, well, I guess I'm keeping it now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well, and I think, and that's the thing is, like, I wish they could put in mechanics that were more, like, you could have progressed this game by putting in interesting mechanics to subvert the enemies. Like imagine if you could set up snare traps or things that would, like, pull them up into trees, or you could, like, fashion nets out of, like...
You can pull them up into trees, but not as a snare.
No, but I'm just saying, like, if you could fashion nets out of, like, the things you collect, the materials you use to make stuff, like, if you could do that to capture them, maybe you knock them out or
it's like the
or
one
whatever,
thing close
but,
to that. They have a distraction arrow or whatever.
Yeah.
But it poisons them. It's like, shoot this arrow not at the bad guy, but over here on that tree stump, and they're going to go, what's that? And they walk over, and a cloud of smoke comes up and kills them. And it's like, seriously, you're distracting the guy to kill him.
She's so sick that she's coming up with more creative ways to murder.
After like, stabbing these, like, spiders to get their venom or whatever, that's her method of distraction. I'm going to get them over here so that they'll die by gas inhalation.
I'm just picturing now Laura's just like, what's
sadistic.
this taser? Less than lethal?
Yeah, I know.
Can we charge this thing up to make it kill him?
Can I connect this to a car battery?
Yeah.
But I wonder if there's going to be some way that they're tying it together with the story. Supposed to be this whole she set the apocalypse into motion sort of
You
thing.
mean like at the end where she finally regrets it and
maybe
kills herself?
Well, no, not necessarily that dark. But I mean, you wonder
It's
if
the
maybe
shadow.
that's how there gets to be a point where that's the turning point in the game for her. Is
You
her
think that's why it's called Shadow of the Tomb Raider, because maybe she realizes how far dark she gets?
I think it's because they're really bad at coming up with names, and she hides in the shadows in this game.
Shadow.
So,
Well, that's what I thought at first, but if we're going down this path of,
But it's supposed to
she's
be
obviously
apocalyptic, too.
dark.
yeah.
it's supposed to be. I mean, the cover with the sun completely covered by the moon, and the whole tone of the game feels like it's supposed to be this ominous. Like,
I hope
So maybe that's how they tie in the older, newer games, if you will.
Yeah.
Of, well, she realized that she's kind of nuts. And
That's. I hope there is some, like, reconciliation or something
Yeah.
where she kind of has some sort of a conscience in this game.
that would
Like,
actually make the game
like
better.
Right. That maybe, hey, you know what? Maybe all of this murder was unnecessary. But
How far in are you guys?
I'm only a few hours. I don't.
Your percentage? Do you have any idea how far?
I think I saw like
like 12
15%.
or 15.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think
I'm like
30.
Like I just went through the tiny village that you get to, and then there's another tomb that Jonah meets a lady, and she's like, "Don't mess anything up." And you're like, "Oh yeah, like I'm gonna totally go in there as Lara Croft and not mess everything up."
Are you still at the same village, Eric? The first one in Peru?
Yeah, that's
or
where
a little
I'm at.
farther?
yeah.
Okay.
And it's a weird thing because it's hard.
The next area opens up. It's a lot bigger.
It's hard to just sympathize with the character when you feel like she doesn't have a conscience. And like
that's true.
But I think there's I was trying to remember the name of this. It's ludonarrative dissonance, and it's a big long term for like kind of the conflict in video games where, I mean, it's crazy to talk about this and maybe it's like too much, but it's the idea of that.
Your character's good, but they're doing these horrible
Yeah,
things.
your character, you're like, oh, I'm playing as a good guy, but all I do is murder all the time, and like, and it's
It's the GTA
unjustified.
effect.
Like, you know, even GTA, I'm a criminal there. I'm a bad guy.
you're supposed to be a bad
kill
guy.
people.
Okay.
and-
That's a little
I guess
different because you
Watch
know
Dogs
that's your
2 is
job.
more like it.
yeah. So here you go. Thank you. Ludonarrative dissonance.
Why is it written in like the? It's written in like the.
Yeah.
It makes me think of Papers,
Dun,
Please.
Papers, Please, yeah.
Yes.
dun, 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 dun. Oh.
Anyways,
Dun, dun, dun.
but it's something where it's like, okay, we're just playing video games, guys. We don't need to have this deep conversation about ludonarrative dissonance.
No,
but
it's
still,
an
it's an
interesting
interesting
thing,
thing.
Yeah,
because
it
it's-
is.
Well, and that's one thing I was with Watch Dogs 2. They always talked about because Marcus seems like this nice guy. He's like friendly. He's funny. He's,
Yeah.
he kind of just seems like an everyman in a lot of ways.
But he's also off his rocker.
Then he just shoots everybody.
Right.
He prints digital guns and murders people with them.
Yeah. It doesn't. And that's how you're going to change society for the better, is by just murdering people.
And it's like some of them are gangbangers, but then there's like normal security guards there too, just normal people.
Or just
people
normal
who are
people
like
on the
they're
street.
just trying to make money, take care of the kids at home.
Well, and the problem is like his character, I think, is so likable that it makes it would be like if you were playing Spider-Man and he murdered everybody all the time. Like I just murdered. That game is so like intentional about not murdering him. If you kick a bad guy off a building,
I love that.
There's a little like spider pod that goes and shoots and sticks him to the side of the wall.
I haven't caught that.
I thought he was killing people.
I've had that. Well, no, I've had that thought.
The first time I knocked someone off one of the roofs of the building, I was like, oh, he's actually gonna. Oh, nope.
I
didn't kill him.
I guess I didn't catch the actual grabbing of the person, but I just immediately thought of the Batman Arkham series where you're riding around in your Batmobile and running people over, but they're fine. They're not dead because Batman would never kill someone.
Well, unless it's BVS Batman.
Yeah.
It's
but so in Tomb Raider, have any of you guys been listening? Like if you sneak up on some of the Trinity people. And you're not killing them yet, they'll have these little like dialogues, right?
Yeah. You know the times when you're not killing,
like before you kill them,
4% of the game.
Yeah,
like when the people are still alive.
They're having these. If you sneak up on two people together, they're having these dialogues, and some of them are like trying to portray the people as just a hired person who's just like
I'm only here because it's a job,
making some money,
Then she's just like, I don't care, pickaxe.
Like I got to put the kid through college, and she's just like, Ned,
I'm gonna stick this in right by your spine.
Here, smell this distracting dart, and die.
But it's I think it makes an interesting point though, because you look at like Spider-Man, and he's such a likable character in that game. It's fun to play as him, and and everything kind of feels...
That goes to his innocence,
but everything
right?
feels justified in that world. Like it's all justified. Where in Tomb Raider, it's like they don't give you a good reason to be murdering these people. Now, if you could give me a good reason...
you have to progress through the game.
Yeah, but they're not even attacking you most of the time. Like,
no,
it's like
you don't want them to.
Yeah.
If they do attack you, it's actually kind of difficult.
Yeah,
that's why I'm kind of like, I really hope that there is something story driven at the end of this that kind of is like, okay, this is leading to this point.
If it just ends where all of Trinity's dead and she's like dripping blood off of her airplane blade knife thingy and like dirt in her face.
Well,
and she's standing at the top of a tomb. Yeah, that's going to be the end of the game. Fade to black.
So now, speaking of,
I mean, it's one of those things. Like you look at the first two games in this reboot, and she wasn't that character. You weren't going after people like proactively murdering them.
No, she was
in the
trying to
last
be
game.
But
a lot in the last game.
But there was opportunities to be.
It felt the
to
same
be
to
sneaky.
me in the last
There was
game.
opportunities.
That one, it didn't feel the same to me because they were like literally hunting for you through that whole game.
Couldn't in the old one you could throw bottles
I
at
guess
people
that's
and
true.
knock
There was
them
a
out?
better justification of it.
Couldn't you throw bottles and knock people out? This one,
you might have been
try
able
throwing
to.
a bottle at someone and they just turn
light
around
on
and
fire.
get mad at you.
What are you doing?
Now, granted, this is a different studio that made this. It's still Eidos, but it's a different team that worked on it. It's like a secondary. So
that could be some of it
that
too.
could be. I mean,
but
hopefully it's all justified. I think. Speaking of story, real quick though, Trevor, you're the only one that's finished Spider-Man. Did you cry at the end of Spider-Man?
No, I didn't cry, but
it was
sad though.
That was like a crazy emotional thing. They did that so well.
Yeah, they did that. It was. I mean, it was close. It was really well done.
That was probably I've never really been a crier video game person, but that might have been that might have been the closest I ever got because it was such a good. They did it so well. Anyways, we don't have much more time, but real quick before we end, the one thing we didn't mention. Rockstar announced that Red Dead is going to have an online beta in November. Ooh. So that means if you own the game at that point, which everyone in the world would, unless you're a crazy person, you're gonna get that obviously for free. So that also lets us know, hey, there's not going to be any online on day one. So.
Cool. So
but who cares? Play the story. Like that's what we're here for at this point.
Hey, also real quick, if you like racing games and you care about Horizon 4, There's a demo available. It's free. And if you just want to get a little race on,
and you
go
can
check it out.
Is the $3 deal still going?
I don't know if that's still going or not. I think it is through, well...
See, I never saw
I don't know
that.
if that was the first half of the month, and maybe that day I mentioned it was the last day it was available, because they're doing the gold stuff a little different, but I don't know. I will say one quick thing about Forza Horizon. It's
a car game.
It looks like a new map for the last game.
Oh, really?
Everything seemed identical.
Weird.
Story seemed like another Horizon event, and
but it's a new location.
It's a new location. That's it. It's just it's like a DLC. It's like you're doing
but it has all the weather
thing.
stuff now and everything. All that's new.
It didn't feel that different.
What about the weather?
It didn't.
You didn't have any weather?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, the snow didn't you didn't slide around.
Well, so the demo doesn't have the winter season unlocked.
Oh, okay.
In fact, it's only summer and moves into autumn a little bit, depending on how you get if you play through it. I played through the entire thing. There's nothing else I could do because they only open a small section of the map. It does look huge. It looks bigger, but all of there's no new dynamic in the game from what I can tell from a gameplay perspective. Yes, there's the weather stuff.
They made a big deal at E3 about the weather, so I can't imagine that there's not
hopefully
something
there's more to that
to do with that.
You know what I'm
we'll
saying?
See. Yeah.
But it felt just like the old game. But
also,
I love that game.
You can get you could also go with Game Pass if you just want to try it out for $10 for a month. You could get that game for much cheaper if you don't want to commit to the $60. The Red Dead thing also, that comes out. Red Dead comes out October 26th. Someone asked in the chat if you were talking about Trevi91 mentioned Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I think we did have a little bit of a story on that where if you get the season pass, it comes with a remake of Assassin's Creed 3, which if you like that game, then you're in luck. If you didn't like that game, then don't buy the season pass. Yeah. I think that's everything we covered or needed to cover, right?
Yep.
Right? Did we miss anything?
Sounds about right.
All right. We didn't get any emails or voicemails, but if you want to email us, you can send us an email to theloop@minuteatub.com. That's theloop@minuteatub.com. You can send us or call us and leave us a voicemail at 475-TUB-CALL. That's 475-TUB-CALL. Please leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on air and we will discuss it. But before we leave, we would be remiss if not to mention our lovely Patreon peeps. That is all the lovely individuals that support us at the co-producer level or higher. That means $10 or more each month. We are extremely grateful for their monetary donations. You too could be a Patreon peep and have your name shining in Patreon coral, just like God of Atheists and Jay Oliver. You can go to patreon.com/minuteatub and subscribe. If you can't do $10, we'll even let you do $1. It's no hard feelings. $1's good. $1, just that little bit of support inspires us and encourages us to keep on trucking. But we do appreciate any support you can give us. You can always donate too. There's a donate button somewhere here on this Twitch page.
You just want to give a one-time
just
deal?
click there. Give us a little
we've got something coming up in we've got Extra Life coming up soon.
Little over a month.
So we're going to do some
November
fundraising
3rd,
for that.
I believe.
So yeah, if you want to give us some money for some food to keep us going over that long 24-hour period while we game like crazy idiots for 24 hours, we got maybe some fun different ideas planned for that 24 hours. It's going to shake it up a little bit. But if we don't play Nidhogg 2 again this year, I'm going to be very upset because that was so much fun.
We need to get together and find out what games we're playing.
Yeah. Maybe if someone wants us to try a game, let us know.
Yes, let us know.
I'd love to see you guys play this game, co-op, single player. Doesn't matter, whatever.
Yeah, we'll get our hands on it.
VR,
honestly, we probably could have just played Nidhogg the entire 24 hours.
That might have been a bit much, but I definitely want to play it again. No matter.
I don't know. There was we played that for 3 straight hours, and it was like, man, I didn't get enough.
It was fun.
We had a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. We need to wait until we're good and weird.
And tired,
yeah.
Hashtag Red Dawn. All right, everybody. That does it for our show this evening. Hope to see you all tomorrow night for the Tubcast, where we will be back discussing all the topics that you don't know we'll be discussing because it's a surprise.
It's a surprise every week.
Yeah.
Last week, go check out that episode. We talked a lot about weird laws.
Weird laws and
not Jude Law.
We had the guest
but we did talk about Chris Pratt.
No, we talked about Chris Pratt.
We did.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, check all our other stuff out at youtube.com/MinuteTub. If you have not already subscribed to us there, we're all over the social. If you are not familiar, look for Minute in a Tub. But until next time, I bid you adieu.
Later.
Go play some games. There's a bunch out there right now.
If anyone wants to join my Scum server, just hit me up. Let me know.
You bought one?
No, but I'm on one.
Oh, cool.